is your annual spending times 25 minus the guaranteed income that Social Security and any pensions will provide. That number is yours. It is specific. It is achievable. And now you know how to calculate it. Here is your complete action list from this video. Calculate your 25x retirement number using your actual annual spending. Subtract your projected Social Security income from your annual retirement spending first, then multiply by 25. Use Smart Asset or Fidelity's free calculator to check whether your current savings rate closes the gap by your target retirement date. And if you are more than 10 years from retirement, do this calculation annually, because your spending, your Social Security estimate, and your portfolio all change. If this video gave you a retirement number you did not have before, subscribe right now. Every single week, I publish a video that cuts through the complexity and gives you one clear, actionable answer to a question most people avoid because it feels overwhelming. If you are watching within the first 7 days of this video, hit the hype button below. It is one tap. It helps this channel reach more people who need this information right now. The next video in this series is about compound interest, the mathematical force that either builds your retirement number for you or leaves you chasing it forever. It is the most important video in this series for anyone under 40. Link is right here. Drop a comment with your retirement number, the one you just calculated using the 25x formula. I want to see the range across the Financial Arch community. I read and reply to every single one. See you in the next video. Every week, one financial truth most people never find. Subscribe so you never miss one.
$1.46 million versus $40,000. That gap, right there, is the retirement crisis in a single image. And the brutal irony is that most people do not even know what number they are aiming for. They are saving without a target. That changes today. If you have ever asked yourself, how much money do I need to retire? This video gives you the exact formula. Not a ballpark, not a vague save as much as you can. The specific number, calculated from your specific expenses, with a method that has been tested against every market cycle since 1926. It is called the 4% rule. And it is the most widely cited retirement formula in financial planning history. But here is something that happened just 2 weeks ago that you need to know before we go any further. The man who invented the 4% rule just publicly stated that it is not actually a rule. His name is Bill Bengen. He created it in 1994, and his update changes how you should apply this formula. I am going to cover that in detail. But first, you need to understand why the formula matters at all. The retirement crisis in America is not primarily a savings problem. It is a clarity problem. According to Northwestern Mutual's 2026 Planning and Progress Study, the most comprehensive annual retirement survey conducted in the United States, Americans now believe they need $1.46 million to retire comfortably. That number jumped 15% in a single year, from $1.26 million in 2025. And yet, the median American retirement savings balance is just $40,000. Not $400,000, $40,000. That is a $1.42 million gap between what people believe they need and what they have actually saved. Now, here is the part that does not get covered in most retirement content. That $1.46 million figure is what people say they need, but many of them arrived at that number through guesswork, not calculation. The number that matters is not the national average. It is your number. And your number depends entirely on one variable that almost nobody has calculated: your annual spending in retirement. That single number determines everything. And once you have it, the formula gives you the answer in 30 seconds. If you have been putting off figuring out your retirement number because it felt too complicated, subscribe now and stay through this video. The formula is simpler than you think, and I am going to walk you through it with 4 real examples at different income levels. Most retirement advice sounds like this: save 10% of your income, max your 401k, start early, compound interest. These are all technically correct, and they are all completely insufficient as a planning framework. None of them answer the actual question: how much do I need? 10% of your income for 30 years may be wildly insufficient, or more than enough, depending entirely on your lifestyle, your Social Security income, and when you plan to retire. The financial planning industry built the 4% rule specifically to answer this question with mathematics instead of guesswork. Let me show you exactly how it works. Also, before the formula. 92% of current retirees say that working-age Americans underestimate how much money they will need. 92%. The people who have already been through it are almost unanimous. The formula is your protection against being in that statistic. Before the formula, I need to show you the 3 variables that make retirement planning so personal, because the same formula produces completely different numbers depending on where you are on each of these. Variable 1. When you retire. Retiring at 55 means your money needs to last 35 to 40 years. Retiring at 65 means 20 to 25 years. A 15-year difference in retirement age changes your required nest egg by hundreds of thousands of dollars because your money needs to sustain you for significantly longer. Variable 2. How long you live. Americans retiring in 2026 face a longevity risk that previous generations did not. A 65-year-old couple has a 50% probability that at least one spouse reaches 92. That is potentially a 27-year retirement, and the original 4% rule was designed for 30 years, not 40. Variable 3. Your healthcare costs. Before Medicare at 65, healthcare in early retirement costs an estimated $10,000 to $20,000 per year out of pocket. After 65, the average American spends over $150,000 on healthcare costs during the remainder of retirement. These costs are not captured in most retirement calculators. These 3 variables mean your number is personal. The formula gives you the starting point. The adjustments make it accurate for your life. Now, the Bengen update. This matters. When Bill Bengen, single number could change your retirement target significantly. Also, every year you delay claiming Social Security from age 62 to 70 increases your monthly benefit by approximately 8% per year. Delaying from 62 to 70 can increase your monthly benefit by up to 77%, which dramatically reduces the portfolio you need. Once you have your base number from the 25x formula, here are the 3 most important adjustments, because the formula is the starting point, not the end point. Adjustment 1. Early retirement. Before 65, use 3.5% instead of 4%. The original 4% rule was designed for a 30-year retirement. If you plan to retire at 55, you are looking at a 35 to 40-year horizon. A more conservative withdrawal rate of 3.5% is appropriate for early retirees. That means multiplying your annual spending by 28.5 instead of 25. Example: $60,000 in annual spending times 28.5 equals $1.71 million needed for a 40-year retirement versus $1.5 million for a 30-year one. The extra $210,000 is the cost of retiring 10 years early, and is worth every dollar if you value those years of freedom. Adjustment 2. Healthcare before Medicare, at 65. If you retire before 65, before Medicare eligibility, you need to account for healthcare costs explicitly. The average private health insurance premium for a 55-year-old individual runs approximately $800 to $1,200 per month in 2026. That is $9,600 to $14,400 per year of additional spending that must be factored into your annual expense calculation. Many early retirement plans fail not because the stock market declined, but because healthcare costs were underestimated by $10,000 to $15,000 per year. Adjustment 3. Flexible withdrawal. The dynamic strategy. The 4% rule assumes you increase withdrawals by the exact inflation rate every year regardless of market conditions. A more sophisticated approach, flexible withdrawal, adjusts your spending based on portfolio performance. In strong market years, you spend a little more. In down years, you cut discretionary spending by 10 to 20%. Studies show that flexible withdrawal can increase portfolio longevity by 5 to 10 years compared to rigid inflation-adjusted withdrawal. This is not a sacrifice. This is budgeting. Spending $55,000 in a bad market year and $65,000 in a strong one, around a $60,000 average, is not deprivation. It is the same budget discipline most working-age people already practice. Together, Social Security offset plus flexible withdrawal can reduce the portfolio you actually need by 20 to 30% compared to the raw 25x calculation. Run the adjusted number. You now know your retirement number. Now, I want you to calculate the gap, the distance between where you are and where you need to be, and the monthly investment required to close it. The gap formula is straightforward. Take your retirement number, subtract your current portfolio value. The remainder is what compound interest and future contributions need to build. At 7% average annual return, money roughly doubles every 10 years. So, if you have 30 years to retirement and $50,000 saved, that $50,000 becomes approximately $380,000 through growth alone before you add a single additional dollar of contributions. For the average 35-year-old with $40,000 saved and a $1 million target, they need to invest approximately $820 per month for 30 years at 7% return to reach their goal. That is $9,840 per year, approximately 13% of the U.S. median household income. Achievable, not easy. Achievable. If that number seems high, remember, every year you delay, the required monthly amount increases. The best time to close the gap is always now. 3 things. Today. Step 1. Calculate your retirement number using the 25x formula right now. Estimate your current annual spending. Subtract anything you would not spend in retirement, like commuting costs or a paid-off mortgage payment, and multiply by 25. That is your starting number. Write it on your phone. Make it real. Step 2. Go to ssa.gov and pull your Social Security estimate. It takes 3 minutes and a free account. Take the projected monthly benefit at age 67, your full retirement age, and multiply it by 12. That is your annual Social Security income. Subtract that from your annual retirement spending, then multiply the remainder by 25. This is your Social Security adjusted retirement number. It will almost certainly be lower than your first estimate. Step 3. Use a free retirement calculator. I have linked Smart Asset and the Fidelity Retirement Score tool in the description. Input your current age, current savings, monthly contribution, and target retirement number. The calculator tells you whether you are on track and what adjustments would get you there. The answer to how much money do I need to retire is not $1.46 million because a survey said so. It published the 4% rule in 1994. He based it on historical U.S. market data from 1926 onwards, a standard 60-40 stock-bond portfolio split, and a 30-year retirement horizon. His conclusion: withdrawing 4% of your portfolio in year 1, adjusted for inflation each subsequent year, would survive every historical 30-year period in U.S. market history. What he said in May 2026 is that the 4% figure was always meant as a floor, a conservative minimum, not a ceiling or a rigid rule. His updated position, incorporating more asset classes, including small-cap value stocks, suggests that a 4.7% withdrawal rate may be more appropriate for well-diversified portfolios in 2026. For this video's purposes, I am going to use 4% as our conservative baseline because it has the longest historical track record and because a new channel with no financial planning relationship to the viewer should always err on the side of caution. But I want you to know that the conversation is active and evolving. The formula I am about to show you is built on 4%, the conservative, historically proven floor. Adjust up only with a financial advisor who knows your full picture. Here it is. The entire formula. 6 words. Your annual expenses in retirement multiplied by 25 equals your retirement number. That is the 4% rule inverted. If you can withdraw 4% of your portfolio annually, and it lasts 30 years, then your portfolio needs to be 25 times your annual spending. The 25x rule and the 4% rule are 2 expressions of the same mathematical relationship. I am going to walk through this formula for 4 different spending levels right now. Find the one closest to your life and calculate your number as we go. How much money do I need to retire depends entirely on one number: your annual spending. Let me run the formula for 4 spending levels. Find yours and calculate along with me. Example 1. $40,000 annual spending in retirement. If you plan to spend $40,000 per year in retirement, which is roughly the median U.S. household retirement spending, your target retirement number is $1 million. At 7% average annual return to reach $1 million by age 65, starting at 25, you need to invest approximately $380 per month. Starting at 35, approximately $820 per month. Starting at 45, approximately $1,900 per month. The same destination. The later you start, the steeper the monthly climb. This is compound interest working backwards against you. Example 2. $60,000 annual spending in retirement. $60,000 per year in retirement, slightly above the national average household spending, requires a $1.5 million portfolio. This is almost exactly what Northwestern Mutual's 2026 survey found Americans believe they need. The formula confirms the instinct. At 7% return, starting at 25, approximately $565 per month. At 35, approximately $1,230 per month. At 45, approximately $2,850 per month. Notice what happens each time you delay by 10 years. The required monthly investment more than doubles. Time is the only resource in investing you cannot buy back. Example 3. $80,000. Annual spending in retirement. $80,000 per year. A comfortable upper-middle lifestyle in most U.S. cities requires a $2 million portfolio. This puts you in the range of what the top 40% of Americans think they need, according to the 2026 study. At 7% return, starting at 25, approximately $755 per month. At 35, approximately $1,640 per month. At 45, approximately $3,800 per month. Example 4. $100,000. Annual spending in retirement. $100,000 per year in retirement, equivalent to a comfortable dual-income pre-retirement lifestyle maintained in full, requires $2.5 million. At 7% return, starting at 25, approximately $940 per month. At 35, approximately $2,050 per month. At 45, approximately $4,750 per month. Your number is now in front of you. Write it down. That is the first time most people have ever known what they are actually aiming for. Here is the adjustment that most people miss, and it can reduce your required retirement number by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Social Security. You have paid into it your entire working life. It is going to pay you back, and that monthly income directly reduces the portfolio you need. Here is how it works. If your target retirement spending is $60,000 per year, and your expected Social Security benefit is $24,000 per year, you only need your portfolio to cover the remaining $36,000. That is $36,000 times 25. A portfolio target of $900,000 instead of $1.5 million. Social Security just saved you $600,000 of required savings. Go to ssa.gov right now and check your Social Security statement. You have a personalized benefit estimate waiting for you based on your exact earnings history. Link in the description. This